Hey guys, here's my first looks on the Olympus OMD E-M5 that I'm using right now and you're seeing me with it. Let's talk about audio actually. I just made a video about how to improve audio on the OM5 and this is what the audio sounds like right now coming out of that OM5, or OMD E-M5, and I'm using the Yeti microphone down here right now, so let's switch back to that. Okay, let's talk about 5-axis stabilization. Now, this is probably the main thing that you should look for, or this is the main differentiator between this and the EP3. Actually, the EP3 has been discontinued as far as I know. So all the other EPL3 and EPL5s. The main thing is this 5-axis stabilization. Now, I thought, yes, I'm gonna get it for that. That was the main reason. But I didn't know exactly how good it was. Here's a video of me walking around in the woods, handheld, Olympus handheld right now, and it's pretty amazing. I've also had many shots where I'm just walking around in the city and just, videotaping random strangers. And yeah, it's extremely smooth. It also helps whenever you're in low light situation because, well, it's less likely for your camera to shake when it's handheld. So yes, 5-axis really works. I am impressed, though the one thing I'm not impressed by is the noise that it creates. Whenever you're walking around with it, or even when it's just standing still on a table, you can still hear that, I guess it sounds like a fan running inside the OMD, but I figure it's probably a bunch of these motors keeping the chip stable. Yes, also use external mics. That's part of my notes here. Yes, use an external mic because the mic over there is good enough, but it's not really that good. Next is the kit lens that comes with it. I have the, 14 to 42, that sounds right. 14 to 42 kit lens that sells for $500 in the Olympus store. And it's meant for video. It really is. There's many functions to it. You can do manual zooming, or this automatic zooming, or macro as well. But it's mainly meant for video people. Now, I wish that Olympus had a weather sealed, 17mm lens or a 45mm lens. But right now, the only weather sealed lenses that they have is this kit lens and a macro lens. So that's actually one of the reasons why I got the kit lens instead of, a 17 or a 45, because right now I do a lot of street photography, or that's my hobby right now. And yeah, a 17 prime or a 45 prime is so much better than this kit lens. But then again, I do shoot a lot of videos, so I keep the kit lens. Next thing is the complicated menu system. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. It's extremely complicated. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but it is. Let's say when you want to change, I don't know, autofocus. You really have to, dig into that menu system. But, and enough of that. That's all boring stuff. If you really are worried about the menu system, go out and, I guess, try it out. Go to a photo store and try it out. Next thing is the double top spinning wheels. That's what I call it. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's these two things at the top of the Olympus where you can use your pointy finger to use one wheel and your thumb for the other wheel. And it's awesome. There's a lot of cameras out there that only has one wheel and it just controls aperture or something like that. But this one, the two are just great. And it actually makes menu navigation a lot easier because you can use them to navigate through, your options and your menus. So yes, I really like that about this camera. It makes everything quick. And speaking of quick, there's actually a lot of function buttons on this camera as well. A lot of customization. So I like that as well. I mean, you really have access to a lot of a lot of these quick shortcuts whenever you change locations or different lightings, things like that. Yes. Another thing, move on. I'm starting to break down a little bit right now. This is my third video in a row. Lens zoom and macro. Yes, I talked about the lens zooming and the macro, things like that. Street photography. This is why I chose this camera as for street photography. I had a choice between this one and I think there was a Sony mirrorless, I forgot what it was called, and a few, you know, Nikon and Canon cameras. But I chose this one because it looks the least daunting when you're taking photos of strangers out in the street. I mean, when you walk up to them with this giant DSLR and just click, 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 things like that, they get scared of you and they say, oh, don't take my photos. But when you walk around with a camera like this, it's so small and still powerful, you really look like a tourist. So when it comes to street photography, I think this is one of the better cameras out there. Now, the one thing that I don't like is this kit lens, because it just sticks out and it makes you look like a pro or pro-ish. But if you did get the 17 prime or the 45 prime or the 12 prime, if you can afford it, you know, it really hides you, actually. You know, it looks less daunting. And the paint. So I didn't know if I wanted the silver or black, and I was talking to somebody on Craigslist because, you know, that's where I buy most of my electronics. It's cheaper that way. And the guy said, oh yeah, the silver will chip. Right? A lot of these silvers chip. But so I did some research on it, and yes, they do chip. But so does the black. So what does it look like when the paint chips? Just look at Olympus OMD, just older photos of the film camera, and you can see a really, really used up OMD. You can see what it looks like underneath. That's gonna be what it looks like underneath this. It's this alloy looking at, it's like dull. It's not quite like aluminum, but it's a lot more dull than that. So yes, the paint will chip. I haven't seen it chip yet, but I'm sure it's gonna happen, and it will happen in black as well. And for some reason, there's something about this silver that makes me look a little more touristy than usual. Yes, last thing is paint. Battery, oh, no, last thing is paint. No, last thing is battery. It was shorter than I thought. It would be nice to have a camera that you can totally just go out and just have one battery pack and have it last you, 8 hours or so. But I was very disappointed with the battery life on this thing. Yeah, in fact, I have to go in and turn off the camera once in a while because I'm worried about draining my battery instead of just letting the camera go to sleep. So yes, I suggest that you get an extra battery if you like going out into nature and, you know, just going out for hours on end, or going out into the city for hours on end. I suggest getting an extra battery. Anyway, that's it for my first look on the OMD. I don't think I'm going to be doing a review on it because I don't really use it as much as professional photographers do. I mean, I'm using it in a very limited circumstance, like street and some studio work and some video work, but I'm not really, using up everything that the Olympus can offer, so I don't think I'm good enough to review it. Anyway, that's it from me, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and bye-bye.